Welcome to Lovely Esteem. I'm Lovely, the auntie you always wanted, the sister girlfriend you didn't know you needed, honey. You got to have self-love to have self-esteem. And here we know that God don't make no junk. So we're going to sit down, talk about it, and see how we can fix it, baby. Let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and today, let me say this is going to pull at my heartstrings. If you see me crying, mind your business. I'm a thug. So the person who I am having a conversation with today, we've literally known each other since we were born, okay? Born with a D, okay? So Miss Latarsha Waters is an amazing, talented, resilient, loving, kind, kick-ass woman. And not just the fact that we've known each other for so long, but the fact of watching her go through all her trials, her tribulations, her successes, and still have grace and still love on people and still show people respect and kindness. It's one of those things that make you stand back and you're in awe of somebody and how they live their life. Like they're really walking the walk and talking the talk. And it's not that we don't all fall down, but when we get back up, we're so much better. I'm just saying, like, it's a little seasoned. It's a little seasoned sometimes. So thank you, Miss Waters, girl. You know I love the last name. You know I love the last name.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh. I could not have said it better myself. Honey, child. Where do I begin?
First, introduce us to you. Like, tell us about you, where you're going, what's happening right now. Just like what got you to where you are now.
So a little about me. So here's the thing I find challenging when someone asks me, well, tell me about yourself. It's challenging because I don't see me. I am me. I am who I am. I live in my skin. I'm a loving person. I love people. I love to help. I think that I was probably supposed to be a surgeon because I'm trying to fix people all the time. So then I realized I had to check myself at the door like, girl, please, not your job. Sit down, work on yourself. And I found the joy in my journey. And that was a turning point for me. So who is Latarsha Waters? Well, I am a newlywed, just got married, coming up on my first anniversary. I am a mother of two beautiful daughters. I am a published author. I am a serial entrepreneur. I care for people. I have done post-op care, child care, bake cakes. I will decorate the mess out of an event, throw an amazing surprise party. I love surprises. Like anytime I can do something sneaky behind somebody, it's like, yeah. I love it. So if I could sum me up in one word, I probably couldn't, but I am a lover of life. And that brings me joy because I have an attitude of gratitude and grace. And that is major for me because I see through lenses as colorful as my glasses. So this personality is always popping and I love everything about it.
That always popping. I love a good Black woman. She's gonna give you the hands pop.
Listen, always. Sometimes I gotta be like, put the hand down. It's all right. Okay.
But you know why? It's the hand because we usually got our hips. If you were standing up, you would have popped your hip. But you know, you can't pop your hips, so you gotta pop your hand. That's what we do. Yes. One of the wonderful things about you, not only are you a person of grace, you're a big woman of faith. You really put your trust in your savior. You really put your trust in the system that you and now you're newlywed Mr. Waters. I love it. Have built together. And it's not like, it's always so interesting because we've known each other so long. We've gone through all the stages of faith, at different times together. The I believe, I don't believe, I'm not sure what's happening. oh my Lord, ask why. Then you learn that if you ask the Lord why and he really reveals why, it's always so devastating. So you stop asking that question. You just be like, no, I don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Now
stop asking him why.
ask God, when I pray for revelation, because I'm a feeler, I'm a hearer, and I'm a seer. So I know who I am and I know whose I am. So when I pray for revelation, I pray for understanding. And I also pray that he gives me the clear path, because it's nothing like having information and not knowing what to do with it. It's nothing like being shown a gift, because I'm so gifted with all of my talents are gifts. So it's nothing like being blessed with a gift and not knowing what to do with it. So the vision that he gives me is so amazing, and I'm so grateful for that. So one of the things that I learned how to do is not only pray for what I want, but know how to pray, know what to pray for, know how to pray for what you want to pray for, because it's not just as simple as saying, well, God, give me this, because we pray for a lot of things, many things, and the blessing sometimes is what he blocks us from.
Yep.
Like, oh God, I learned recently, pray for the doors that are closed that never opened.
Absolutely.
What I imagine is on the other side.
It was not. It was
absolutely not. And when I learn later in life or down the line, it's like, oh, I dodged a bullet. Thank you. Thanks, G. Appreciate it. Love it. So, that's a part of being on my own path and not looking at the grass on the other side to see how green it is as opposed to mine, comparing my life early on in my life as I was growing up, finding myself as a young lady, a young mother, not having a clue, no idea of what life should be or look like. I used to compare myself to people and I'd be like, oh, she's so pretty, she's so beautiful, I want to be like her. But here's the thing that I share with my daughters: never compare yourself with someone else, because you only get a snapshot, like a Polaroid, of someone's life only in that moment that you experience them. And then we tell ourselves the story that we think they're living. And it could be 100% correct or 100% incorrect. And it's like, oh, you made it up, right? So.
No. You're so right. Look, the interesting part is that portion of understanding that your failures are lessons. It's the boundaries that are being set for you that you don't know about, right? Because I always say, I'm like, but I love him so much. And you're like, no, you can't be with him. Okay. Because behind door number 1 is a black eye. Behind door number 2 is another black eye. Listen to me.
Oh, you better say it.
But also the simple fact of, I don't think I ever wished for anybody else's life per se, but I always knew, especially because of how we grew up, that it was so much happening behind closed doors. Like, we had very grown eyes at such a young age that we didn't need. We did not need that, right?
Not at all.
And we've gotten to see and experience some things in our lives that we thought were like the most horrific things. And it's not that it weren't horrific, but it has set us up so we see people very differently. We see the honesty in people, we see the brokenness in people, but we see the resilience in people, and they may not look like resilient people to everybody else, but you can see in them what they have to offer, and you can speak straight to their soul. Like, you get right in there.
Yes.
And that is like that's a beautiful thing, because I watch you take people who feel like they shouldn't be in your presence and talk to them and make them feel like they want to feel. Because I think sometimes we try to talk to people so they can feel how we want them to feel. But when you can talk to a person and make them feel how they want to feel, it's a difference.
That's a game changer.
That's all from that past experience that we was like, yo, why do I keep going through this? Stop asking why, yo. Don't ask why.
Right. Don't even ask why. Don't even ask a question. Be like, you know what? I feel like I treat it like deja vu. Whenever I experience deja vu, I literally posture myself like this. I'm like, wait a minute, I have to slow everything down because I've been here before and I missed it. So I taught myself to look for the thing that I missed because I have the second opportunity to experience it for a reason. And I'm going to seize this moment to capture the glory that's in that moment, in that experience. And it taught me to see people for who they are. The reason that I feel that I'm able to be this way with people is because I listen. I learned to listen, not just hear, but I learned to listen to the spirit. Because if you allow a person to speak long enough, they begin to tell your truth. Never mind the story that they want you to believe or present to you. They begin to speak their truth. And I connect to energy very well. So when I'm listening to people speak, I take myself completely out of the scenario. This is not about me. Thank you, God, for allowing me to be present. Because this is a gift for me to be present in someone's most tender, precious, personal, vulnerable moments. And they're sharing it with me, like me. However, just like you said, when I hear someone, they're struggling with something or they're excited about something, I speak life in everything. And oftentimes we don't understand how valuable our perspective is. Why is my perspective different? Because I had different experiences. You know, like you said, we grew up with grown eyes. I think I was 35 when I was 2. So therefore, I've seen, heard, and experienced some things that someone else my age, our age, may not even have thought about. So thank you, God. But today, I can say thank you, God. Yesteryear, I was saying, oh my gosh, why me? Why me? So I really take great appreciation. I have great appreciation for the opportunities that I have to connect with people, no matter what platform they're on. I mean, just really connecting with people, because today, not just because of COVID, the pandemic revealed so much truth in the world, and people were walking around with deep, heavy hurt. But I didn't know that I was suffering. I'm drowning and I don't realize I'm drowning. I'm a mother with children and my children are struggling, and I'm so focused on them that I can't see me. Yep. That's heavy hurt. That's that silent killer. And I speak a lot about that. And that's why I say light and love is so important. And I talk to people and I tell them, listen, give yourself grace. I can give you grace. Oh, you know what? She didn't mean that. Oh, yeah, she's a sweet person. Oh, I know how she is. Oh, yeah, well, maybe she's not feeling well right now, or she's having a moment. Give her time. I can give you grace all day long. Do I know how to extend the grace to myself? To say, I'm not perfect, but it's okay. I am perfectly imperfect in my own way, and I get to make mistakes, but I also get to learn from my mistakes. And in my mistakes, do I have the opportunity to help someone else? Because, oh, girl, please, look, come on, get up. I've been there, done that. Let's go. There is sunshine at the end of this rainbow. So I'm going to walk with you through this cloudy day. We are going to weather this storm. I have rain boots. I have a raincoat. You need an umbrella? Okay, let's do it.
It's so true, because I think that when we see, I will say that we were having a conversation off camera about if we were in this position when we were 20, we would have been lost, right? Mm-hmm. Because honestly, we needed the experience. We needed the life. We needed to understand that it was not about us. That's one of my big statements. It's not about us. Mm-hmm. Perfectly imperfect. Grace and I statements. And that is so huge, to be able to be in a space where your emotional intelligence is at the top of its game, right? Because you're like open enough to be like, hey, I know I'm going through something, but I need to be here for you. There's a reason why you were put in my space. So I'm going to walk with you, because in walking with you, it's going to reveal something in me that's so different than where I was going. Because I thought I was going to go down to Park Heights, hike a left, make it down to Mondawmin Mall, They said, no, we're gonna put you on 695, connect you to 29. You on your way back to, you like, that's not
right.
where
I didn't know
going.
I was going to Columbia because over there. Okay.
Why? But honestly, like, you're so correct. And that's one of the big things that I talk about is learning how to use I statements. When you are helping other people, put your name in that space always. Because you may have an answer for someone else. And it's usually because you've ignored you've ignored what you were going through. And that's how come you can give the advice. You be giving out advice. Girl, yellow dress, blue dress, green dress. What you wearing? Black. How
about learn to be your own best friend? I girlfriend me well. I do. I set me down and I'm like, hey, chick, here's the deal. And the same advice that I would give to my good girlfriend, sometimes you have to be your own soundboard and speak life into yourself. Be real with yourself. It's two people that you can't lie to, yourself and God. You really can't, like, I can feed myself a story 100% of the time, but there is that one little nugget that always reminds me that, that's not true, right?
You a liar.
Right?
You was a liar.
No one else can see it, but you're walking around in a facade because imagery is important. Well, if imagery was really important, why would you not consider your personal well-being? Because how can I help you if I'm not whole, if I'm not healed, if I am so broken, if I refuse to address my own brokenness, how can I speak to your situation and where you are? Well, that's kind of matter of fact than a hypocrite to say that, oh, well, you should, but then I don't.
Yep.
Then enablement is so powerful because an enabler doesn't even realize that they're enabling someone else. I'm so focused on helping, seeking, helping, picking up, assisting, doing so much for everyone. And like you said, everyone's wear that blue dress, wear that yellow dress, wear that green. Oh, red, our favorite color, popping, love it. And then we're sitting here looking like we're in mourning every single day, but we don't see ourselves.
We don't see ourselves. We don't see ourselves. And you know what? And it's interesting because I used to have this. So for a very long time, I was very comfortable with being in the back. I still am. You know me. Lisa, can you help me? I will help you all the way up until you be like, let's go out on stage. I'm like, peace out, sister. And I will roll out.
Lady that drags me on the dance floor because I don't know how to dance. And the lady who says, oh, we're going to the mall and get your first pair of heels and make you walk through the mall. I'm walking like, oh, I'm going to fall. My ankle's doing this.
But look at you now, darling. You are RuPauling down the runway. You RuPauling down the runway now.
Honey. But I appreciate, although you feel most comfortable in the shadows, because you are a doer, you are a make it happen person, and you see the beauty in people. So you're like, oh girl, don't even, no. Let's change that perspective. Let's do this. Let's try. Let's do. But you don't gently do it. You just get out on that ledge. And I'm like,
but what you do? But you land every time, don't you?
It's nice up here. I like the scenery. Visit, child. Listen, I like it. So yes, I love how we love. And that's our love language.
Yes.
To help someone else.
Yes. But you know what I realized, and it's funny, I'm like, though I'm very comfortable with being in the background. Like, I don't need acknowledgement in order for me to feel fulfilled, because if I'm doing something, I'm already fulfilled. That's me all day, every day. Right. But what I love to watch happen is how we're evolving, because you used to love being in the background because you was like, don't say my name. Just don't even say my name. Right.
And then not me. Don't pick me. Raise your hand if you, not me.
And then you got to a point in your life where you could no longer hide your gifts anymore. And that is a scary place to be, especially spiritually, because I'm one of those people, I don't move unless the spirits talk to me. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't jump. I don't budge. It doesn't matter what you say to me. You could be like, hey, this is going to be really great. I'm like, hey, I prayed on it last night. That's not what it said was going to happen. My preview of what's going to happen and your preview of what's going to happen, that's two different ones. I think the lady that you're looking for has blonde hair in mind. It's not the same lady. But it's also how we have rebounded from all the different traumas that we have had. And it's also how we are able to deal with the triggered moments that we have and like turn it into triumph so fast, so much faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have a sense of self, like if you don't have a sense of self-care, and sometimes people like think when you say self-care, it's getting your nails done. But a lot of the times self-care is being aware that you can't handle an event. It's like, hey, listen, thank you for inviting me, but this isn't going to work out well for me today. Absolutely. I know that today is going to be the day that I'm standing at the cookout crying. You're not going to be able to console me because that's not where I am.
Yeah.
And if I can make it, I will. But if I can't, I have to take care of me, because who else going to do that well? Mm-hmm. You know?
So and here's my apologies.
No, I see you do that a lot for yourself. Like, I got to center myself, because if I show up not like me, I'm not going to be happy about this.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I can appreciate about that is recognizing that everything isn't for you. That's not my journey. That's not my battle. That's not my problem to solve. So because I was the biggest enabler, I didn't realize that I was trying to save everyone. So I had to learn a new language. And my language was, I feel for you, but I just can't reach you. Or I understand. Listen, nicely. It's like, you know how people come around and they give you those indirect, girl, because you know, my rent is due and I don't have enough money for this and I need to buy groceries, but you were definitely at Jazzy Summer Nights last night. So let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about priorities. Your hair is laid, your nails are done, and you need gas in your car. Like, let's not talk about any. So I had to get to a place where I just listen. And it's like, okay, yeah, I understand. Because I do. I've been there. I've made poor decisions and I learned from my mistakes. So if we as a people constantly try to save someone from themselves, how do they learn? I'm not going to give you bread and feed you. I'm going to teach you how to fish. You're going to get these skills and the village is going to eat whether I'm here or not. Because if I don't say no and I don't show you, then we all fail. We all fail. And then here's the other thing, because I am so busy trying to save you in your situation. Now my feelings are hurt because either I'm giving you unsolicited advice and then you're not taking it. I'm frustrated. And it's like, you know what? I mean, what's the purpose of the conversation? But I had to learn this with my children taught me this. Well, did they ask you for your opinion?
Or don't you stop? You like, what?
All right. Well, I can see that. Oh, yeah, that's something. Wow. Let me know how that worked out for you. Because guess who's not fixing it? I said the cat. It's not happening. So, you know, healing yourself sometimes comes at the cost of minding your business. Mind the business that pays me. And I have quite a bit to focus on to not interject myself into someone else's life, into someone else's plan, into someone else's vision. I love that my clients come and they sit in my chair when I'm doing their hair and they're like, Miss Tarsha, I came in here thinking that I couldn't do, and I'm walking out of here feeling like I am on fire. And I don't experience me. So I don't know what that feels like. I'm just being me. And it's like, oh, sure you can. Absolutely. Well, what are you thinking? Well, if you had the opportunity, how would you do it? Because sometimes it's not we don't have the capacity to take ourselves there. So you just need somebody to give you that little nudge to say, well, if you could, then how would you? Just for conversation's sake, how would you do it? And then you can see the creative juices flowing, and then they're writing and they're like, oh, this is nice. Oh, well, I never thought about that. Well, I can't do that. Well, no, let's not say you can't. Let's talk about how we can make it happen. And then here's the other thing, the biggest lesson that I hear, the piece of advice that I hear that's so valuable is don't be afraid to start small.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart didn't start in a warehouse. You know, you just start small. Don't be afraid to start small, because I would prefer quality over quantity any day.
Every time.
Every time. Start small. It's okay. I mean, my vision is I dream in color. I tell people all the time, I dream in color. I see a conversation in real life, like it is happening. I have experienced it. All the while, somebody is like, I can't wait. I'm like, been there, done that. My husband's like, I'm so scared of you because you're not afraid to do. Like I jump off the deep end of the cliff into the deepest water all the time. And I'm like, well, it's probably going to be a life raft. I know I can swim some. I hope I don't hit the rock. If I do, please don't die, because I probably need to get stitches, but that's all right. If I break my leg, I'm going to get crutches. I mean, I'm an optimist. I see the good in everything. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't weigh the odds or what am I trying to say? I think I'm having a brain fart right now. I done said so many words. The pros
Consequences.
Consequences. Yes, the pros and cons. So it's not that I don't consider the cons, but I am an optimistic person. And I believe that I learned to be an optimistic person because of all of the trauma that I experienced when I was young. I was very sad. My world was dark. There were always cloudy days. It was always a blizzard. I could never make it up the hill. There was no corner to turn. And one day I decided that I was going to be happy. I taught myself how to smile. I taught myself how to think. I began to sow positivity in myself, and I began to speak life. And before I know it, it's like, oh, wow, my days are always sunny. That's a gift, because not everybody has the ability to pick themselves up out of the mud and become a blossom, beautiful flower. So I'm grateful for that.
That's so true. And the reason why I didn't even stop you, because sometimes I love when a person gets on they get on a sermon. They don't even know it. They be like, oh, wait a minute, you get in the pocket. She be like, I'm like, get it all out, girl, get it all out. Because you're going to get stuck in your brain. You're going to be like, because I wanted to say, what I wanted to say was, because there are so many times in our lives where we make the assumption that our accomplishments don't count because they aren't big. I'm really big on celebrating the small wins, because you literally have to start with the first stitch. You have to start with the first knot. There's no way around this. That if you learn how to do braids, you got to learn how to get that braid together. Like, you got to learn how to cornrow. You go ahead and learn how to get it to the scalp, or else we just not doing this together. And it was very interesting what you said, because learning how to think positive is not always about being happy. It's learning how to celebrate joy in your sadness. And a lot of people make the assumption that when you say that you think positive, that you don't have negative, bad moments, you don't have bad days. We all have times where we're like down in the dumps and we try to figure out our stuff. Absolutely. But what happens is that the resilience in that sadness is that you can see through to the light. You can see further down the line. You have a good idea of how you're going to pivot, because that's literally, that's what Tasha talked about, pivoting. I know that where I'm living right now is not meant for me. This is not my full existence. What I'm going to do is start creating the life. What's the fake it till you make it? I'm going to create the life I want. Yes. Because eventually it will become the life that I live. Absolutely. And we don't get to, sometimes we get stuck in woe is me, but we're stuck in woe is me is because we don't know the language. We make always laugh when people be like, I'm keeping it real. I'm like, real what? Real sad?
Right. Real short, real long.
Like what? I was like, because at the end of the day, you are human. Your pivots are your growth. The moments when you say, damn, that was no, I don't like that. I love that part of me. That part right there, it's always going to show up.
Yes.
This part right here, it's got to go. I don't know what it is. And sometimes you're like, this part right here, it got to go, but I'm going to keep 20% of it because it really does protect me. It saves me. It's one of those things that helps build me and gives me resilience. It helps me bounce back. But I always say we grew up in an era where everything was presented to us in picture perfect. It was like the perfect party. It was the perfect car. It was the perfect husband. It was the perfect mom. And then you look around at your life and you like,
lies, just all lies.
And then you start having kids and you was like, who was perfect? Because I'm not sure that this kid gonna make it out. I don't even know how to feed this child. What we doing?
Yes,
I lost that shoes twice today. Where's the shoes? You know, like it really is a thing. So I love watching when people see, hey, this is not where I want to be, or this is where I want to be. Right? This is my goal. How do I get to this goal with as much resilience as possible and with as much resistance as possible? Because I know if I can go the hard way up to the top, it ain't shit you can talk to me about.
Not a damn thing.
That's gonna change my mind.
Not at all. Not at all.
You know,
and I love that you highlight that, because here's the thing that I know that many people struggle with. Unfortunate circumstances. It's not always a curse. It's actually the gift. It's the opportunity to build character. So I can go down and I have, like, Santa's sleigh and his knapsack and everything. I have like all of that trauma. So, I mean, just being real. And if I could dig in a bag and say, let's talk about one thing, every single trauma I experienced was an opportunity to build the character of the woman that I am now. Like you said, it made me firm. It made me strong. It made me wise. It made me compassionate. It made me love. Recognize that at one point in my life, I didn't have love. I didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to receive it nor how to give it. I couldn't recognize it. So therefore, I didn't know what to do with it. And what I thought was love wasn't even lust. I had no idea what it was. I never defined it, but I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah, we still don't have a name. We still don't have a name for it. It's that.
It's that
shit.
It was that. It's that shit we dealt with that we have a choice, right? It's like, what the heck? Okay, no, thank you. Put that over there. That's that part. Stop. That's that part. That's that part where you say, "Oh no, I don't want that." Leave, girl, bye.
That's nasty. I don't like the way that tastes. It smells funny.
I don't like that kind. Not at all. So yes, but I just feel like growth is so beautiful if you embrace it.
If you embrace it, and believe me, when people say growth is beautiful, it's not. You get stretch marks. You may fracture, you may have broken a bone. There's some things that's going along with this growth. And I think that when a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to protect themselves from trauma. And I'm like, listen, it's life. It's going to happen. What you do to prepare yourself for that is the biggest gift you can give to yourself. Being open to, I always say, it's like when something really bad happens, if your first question is, what did I do wrong? You have to work on you, because self-awareness means that you understand that from the beginning of this conversation, and one of my favorite quotes, it's not about me. It's not usually about you. We are bystanders. We happen to be driving past where they were shooting a movie. We got caught up in the movie. We're not even a lead character.
Not at all.
We just happen to be there. We could stay too long. We didn't get paid or fed.
We don't even have lines. We just happen upon it like, oh, hey, what's going on? I'm just going to say, I'm an extra.
Like,
hey, guys,
And that's the big thing. So like we get caught in spaces where, or sometimes we know that a space is bad for us, but we stay too long. We were supposed to stop and say hello. We didn't. We stopped, took off our glasses, asked for a cup of juice. We
Took our shoes off.
And they like, you don't want to be here. You're like, oh, I'm gonna stay here with you. You don't want this. Now you caught up in some shit 6 months later. You like, why am I still here?
How did I get here? Like, why didn't anybody tell me that I knocked on a wrong door? This was not the address.
And they said, we did tell you, but you didn't listen. He was like, I listen all the time. I am a liar. I am a liar.
Exactly what you said, but I didn't hear no, I heard what I wanted to hear. I didn't hear what you said.
Yes.
So
I heard you say, come in.
Right. Absolutely. I took the temperature of the room and decided that this is where I wanted to be, but I didn't realize that I overstayed my welcome. Did I pick up the social cues? Boy, I am tired. Ooh, I'm ready to lay down. Oh, if I only had an opportunity to take a nap.
I got work tomorrow.
Right. Woo! Let me go ahead on and do this laundry, clean this house. All the while, girl. Yeah, go ahead. I'll sit right here
about that. Talk about that. How a lot of the times, a lot of the things that we go through, even though it's a part of our journey, we stay too long because we're trying to fix the things in them that we want fixed in us. Absolutely. The brokenness that a lot of the times when you're trying to fix other people, it's because you're trying to fix something in them so you can prove to yourself it works. So then you can try to pull it on yourself. But what happens is it backfires because now, like you said earlier today, you got Baidu luggage. You walking around, you still can't figure out how to fix you. But now you got extra people sleeping in your bedroom. You like, hey, what? I can't sleep with you, sir, ma'am, cousins. Why are you still in my house? Why are you here?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. And people don't realize when you meet someone or you encounter someone and it's like, I don't like that. Well, they're a reflection of whatever it is in you that you don't like about yourself. You're experiencing it in someone else, but we don't acknowledge that. We don't. So oftentimes whenever I feel like, that was some energy right there, I stop and I pay attention and I'm like, well, what is it about it? What happened? What just happened? What just experienced? Oh, you know what? I do that too. So is this how people experience me? Girl, you better set it straight. You better speak the truth about yourself. You better, because that's the only way that we're going to grow.
I'm laughing because, look, I tell people all the time, especially when I'm having conversations with people, I say, if I'm interested in what you have to say, I will stay. If I'm not interested in what you have to say, I will go. I will not waste your time because
you will be looking for me. Be like, what's she just right here? I'm gone.
I'm like, listen, I know, especially as I've gotten older, probably like around 36, 37, I started realizing in living color, this isn't my space. This isn't my conversation. This isn't my time. And because you're always trying to be accepted in every circle. You're trying to be accepted in every conversation. You're trying to be accepted at every job. You try to throw yourself into spaces that don't belong to you. And it's okay to not belong. Like, absolutely. It's more resilience and strength and power to understand where you don't belong than to be in every place and be thin. Your hair, you just losing hair trying to fit in versus being luxurious over in the corner by yourself.
That's it. Know your place. Recognize when this is not for me. Yeah, this is nice. Oh, that's not my cup of tea. I decline. No, thank you.
Yep. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. I always say, people get so offended when you say, no, I can't make it. But I'm like, listen to me. Do you want somebody in your space who wants to be there? Or do you want somebody in your space who does not want to be there? Because they will unintentionally set a fucking virus off And now you're trying to figure out, like, everything was good. What just happened? And I had to like start sitting back and like, okay, so who told me, no, I really can't make it? And then I said, no, you got to do this with me. Who did I beg?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't even want to hurt you. They're like, listen.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, and you and I'm not going to show up unless I'm going to show up.
Absolutely. And when you say, no, I'm not going to be there, it's like, okay, well, maybe next time. Same thing here. Like when I got into my career, we were like this, and my career my schedule just imploded, and I was everywhere. I was never available, but never once did you say, well, T, you're supposed to be here, or we always did. Do I miss it? Absolutely. But here's the thing about knowing your place. When I got engaged, I knew when I called you were going to be here. That was not a question ever. We don't have to see each other every month, every year, talk all the time, vacation together or anything, but we know our places in one another's lives. And that's because we hold the value of one another. And that's it. So you don't always have to be a miss to feel important. You have to respect someone's space, respect their decision. And then here's the other thing, the flip side to that coin, not only being invited and attending when you don't want to, how about inviting everybody just because you know them? Oh, I'm gonna have a party, I'm gonna have an event, and I'm just gonna invite them. It's like, no. And I have to tell my mom this. I reserve the right to share my experience with the people that I want to share with, because whenever I host something, I want to have a certain experience. So that means that this person is not for this event. This person is not meant for that. I'm not meant for that. Thank you for the invitation, but no, thank you. I won't be able to attend because I don't want to get caught up in that mix. I don't like the energy, and I'm a feeler. I told you I'm a feeler. And if the energy is wrong, is bad, I'm out. You be looking for me, ghosts, gone, done. Was she ever here? I don't know. What happened? We didn't even see you leave, girl. I was gone when I said hello.
I jiggle my keys. You ain't hear me jiggle my keys?
And I just went on here and slid on out the back in the shadows. Let y'all dance and have your fun. This is not my vibe. So,
you know, and I think that a lot of that, one of the things that I have so thoroughly enjoyed as I've gotten older, I know that you have the same thing on your side, is now being old enough, educated enough, and having the ability to comprehend what our parents went through and what made them make those decisions. Not that we say that it's right, but we can accept that it happened, the reason that they give us, at least be able to surface level say, oh, okay, and move forward. That doesn't mean that it was right. That doesn't mean we agree. It just means that it happened. And I think a lot of the having everybody in that space came from them not having a lot. So the more people you invited, the more people donated. So then you felt like you had this big gathering, right? And as we've gotten older, we've gathered more for ourselves because we've had more opportunities to gather. And we've been open enough, and I always say we've been open enough to take the things that work well for us, and then we build on those things exponentially.
Yes.
Where that may not have been where their strong points. Their strong point was, I got these kids, I'm young. How can I not kill the kids? We were like, listen, I don't want to kill the kid, but mommy got to go to work. Listen, okay? So if I got to go to work, what can I do to make sure that this child thrives and I thrive? Because if one of us or none of us thrive, I'm not going back to where I came from. I don't want to relive that movie. That was a bad, I don't like that movie. It didn't go well for me. You know, and I think that was a big thing in learning, because I used to say all the time to my mom, I'm like, I want to have people around me who have independent joy. And it's hard when you are around people who need your joy in order to build joy, because it's an energy sucker, and it's sad sometimes.
It's exhausting.
It is. And, you know, sometimes you think to yourself, okay, if I'm a spiritual person, I understand that sometimes I'm going to be presented with people who need to exchange it. Maybe I have a little bit more, they have a little less, we can exchange it. But it's very hard to exchange energy with a closed door. You know?
Absolutely.
So, and I think that that's part of growing that I had to do. Like, I can have conversations with my mom and she talk about some things that we have gone through where I'm like, in my child mind, I was like, yo, what were you thinking? You messed this up. And then she explains it from her point of view. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
oh, so I was bad, but you was bad. Like, there was a third bad in there that it wasn't the same.
Right. We weren't able to see that. Oh, we saw it and didn't recognize it. We didn't know what it was that we were witnessing. So one of the things that I come to recognize with conversing with my mom was she was a person before she became my mother. And the life that she lived before I was conceived paved the way for the mother that she was to me. Because here's the thing, if I only have these ingredients, my recipe is this.
That's it.
If you have more ingredients, so my cake, my yellow cake and your chocolate cake, they're both cake, but you have a different ingredient than I have. And she did her very best with the ingredients that she had, but it was not until I became an adult and we were able to have mature, like you said, our mature mind, have a conversation with our parents to understand.
Yes.
And when I sit and I speak with her and she opens up and she's so vulnerable, do you know that I see the fragility in her? Like, I know the shit was wrong. That was fucked up. However, as
a person,
I know how I experienced it, right?
And yes,
I experienced it.
But as a person,
as a woman of color, a mother, had been a single mother, I was able to connect with her and relate to her, that 25-year-old at that point, to say, oh, wow. So now we're best friends. And here's the funny part. I'm my mother's person. I become her person. She said, listen, you are the most forgiving person I know. And you do it with ease. I said, Mommy, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's a decision I made. And I learned to make hard, firm decisions early on. And the ability to say, I forgive you and I love you and I give you grace. Do I forget? No, but that means that my work begins in rewriting my trauma. I have to rewrite my experience with my mother to create a healthier relationship, healthy boundaries, and also to recognize that I am not that little girl. So there are things that I have a choice. I don't have to deal with that anymore. So I have a choice. So if you make those same decisions, because it comes down to choices and decisions, if you make the same choices, I also get to choose.
Amen about that. And that's one of the biggest things that I look, my brain was like, but because that is the biggest thing. I always tell, forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you so that you can say, okay. I always tell, forgiveness it's the end of your grieving process, right? So, you know, when you grieve, you have denial, then you have anger, then you bargain with it, then you go through depression and you get to acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that you agree with it. It means that you note that this thing happened and I'm going to forgive me so that I can build on what I know better and then I can move past it.
Yes.
Now, what I'm saying is that when I say move past it, it could be 40 years from now when you get to that space. Move past it does not mean it's faster. It means that you are actively acknowledging and working on getting past something. Because no matter how much we love someone, if they did something that felt shady and wrong, it's still tender. It's less tender,
yes,
but it's still tender.
absolutely.
And the great thing that you said was you get to now be friends with the person that they've become out of that dark space.
Yes.
And you get to decide what that friendship looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You get to decide what the conversation is. You get to say, hey, we can't joke about that thing because I'm still not over it. I'm working on it, but I'm not over it.
And the conversation that you have with yourself in those tender moments, because remember, it's a wound.
Yep.
It's not open, but it's a wound. So here's the scar. The scar is the gentle reminder, the physical reminder that it once was trauma. So whenever you're faced with that emotional and that mental experience, that's when forgiveness takes place continually, over and over
again
and over again. So it's not that I forgive you today and I never have to revisit it. Every time you have that experience, you have to then forgive again. And then here's the thing. You said it so clearly. Forgive yourself. The only way that you can heal from trauma is to forgive yourself, because oftentimes when we experience trauma, negativity, unfortunate circumstances, we look within ourselves for the imperfections. Because why did this happen to me? I must have.
Yep.
So understanding that I didn't solicit the unwanted touching, the inappropriate conversation, the exposure. I didn't solicit that. However, I experienced it. So because something negative or painful, let me say that, something painful came out of it, now I'm looking at myself to say, well, did I deserve it, or what did I do to deserve it? Well, you did nothing. So that's where you have to give yourself grace. And I hear it again. You have to learn to give yourself grace so that you can heal fully. It's never about the other person. It's always about you. Because when you are living the best version of yourself, then can you give a better version of yourself? You can extend it to someone else. Because if I'm hurting, how positive am I going to be? How helpful am I going to be? How honest am I going to be? If I am neglecting me and I'm not honest with myself, how can I be honest with you and I'm not honest with me? So it runs full circle, but it absolutely starts with I, me, my. Self-preservation is the first rule of survival. What do they teach you on an airplane? Before you help someone else with oxygen, pull your oxygen down and put it on first. I can't help you if I'm dying. I can't save you if I'm dying. So that's the thing that we really have to realize, that forgiveness that's why they say forgiveness is for yourself. It's a part of your healing process, and it's a constant healing process.
Absolutely. And it's very interesting because I used to say all the time, I'm like, trauma is the wound that never heals, but it does, you get scar tissue and it gets thicker and thicker, and it takes longer for it to hurt you. And sometimes the hurt is shorter. There are times when you're going to rip it wide open again and you have to work through those things. You're going to be triggered because you think, all right, we dapped each other up, boom, boom, we good. You're going to walk down the street and somebody going to say, hey, how you doing? And you're going to be like, did you shoot at me? And it's just because we all have we have a particular way in which we heal. We have a routine on how we heal.
Yes.
And sometimes we're not willing to change that routine because we're not healing. But we think if we keep doing it this way, you hurt me, fuck you, I'm leaving. And I'm going to heal. And then you realize that the fuck you, I'm leaving, if you really hit the little button in the side, it's the little drop down arrow. And it's like 24 new things that you're supposed to have done.
And
that you did not. You did.
I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it. I'm going to suppress it. I'm not going to deal with it right now. Yeah.
And it was very interesting what you said. It's so true. I tell people all the time, if you're healing in order to make another person feel good, it's like addiction. If you are trying to become clean, to make somebody else look at you in a more positive way, you're going to relapse. You
Absolutely.
can relapse in trauma. It's
Mhm.
what we do all the time. It's the
Yeah,
reason why you keep dating the same guy with a different face. It's the same
that's
reason why
it.
you keep dating a girl with a different face. It's the
Mhm.
same reason why you keep going to the same job but a different location, because you haven't figured out. And we don't, let's just say, one, you don't always figure out what your triggers are. Sometimes the triggers be underneath a trigger, inside of a trigger, followed up with a trigger in a pretty bow. Sometimes the trigger be good looking. You be like, yo, but it's
Oh,
so
real good
pretty.
looking. It's
It's so
like,
pretty.
listen, I want that meat right there. Give me some sauce. Can I have some
You
sauce?
know, but you
I like
don't
that
know that.
kind.
You
Not
don't know that.
realizing, right,
And
not real.
that's, but that's the part of forgiveness I always tell people about. The forgiveness is the acceptance that I have work to do on me. Because if I keep asking myself, what did I do wrong? Why am I always in the wrong? Why do I feel like what secondary voice? Because we're not born to think that we're wrong. What secondary voice is living in my head telling me that I'm not good enough and that this particular situation is my fault? If you would have done comes from somebody else's mouth. That doesn't come out of that's not a part of your intuition. Your intuition is always telling you, we're not doing that because this is going to keep us alive. It's never saying, I can't believe you did that. You wore that dress. I can't believe you spoke to that guy.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
somebody else's voice. And
Mhm.
whose voice is in there? Whose voice is, who's your secondary voice? And how do you shut that bitch up? Because I know how to shut her up, but
That imposter syndrome is serious. And that brain is such a strong muscle that we don't even realize. So let's talk about this. Do you recognize that there's a voice there? Some people don't.
some people don't. They don't know that it's a whole, like, it's a sentences that's not your own.
Absolutely. You don't recognize that it's not even your voice and it's not in first person.
No.
That
No.
voice is never in first person.
Never.
Ever. So while you're struggling with the I'm not good enough, why don't you do this? You should have done, all of that. That's like you said, it's not your voice. So that's an imposter. That's why they call it imposter syndrome. You have to speak to that and shut the fuck up. First of all, I did it because that's what I wanted to do and it brings me joy and this is the light of my life. So how about that? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you have to say it like that. Yes, I did. Now go on about your business.
Yeah.
That part. So you have to take control of your thinking because your mental well-being is so important and it's so valuable to the quality of life that you live. I talked about quality versus quantity. The quality of life that you live is solely based on your mental and emotional stability. Physically, if I never walk again, does that mean that I'm not going to have a good quality of life? Does it mean that I'm never going to be happy? Does it mean that I won't experience joy? Absolutely not. It just simply means that I had to learn to adapt to my new life or my new circumstance. So it won't always be a beautiful thing or a beautiful experience. I mean, we would love for it to be, but how do we grow? Because, like the spiritual side of me recognized a long time ago that we always want the blessing. Thank God for the blessing. Thank God for the blessing. Thank God for the blessing. But if I am never tried, if I never have an obstacle, then where's the deliverance? What am I being healed from if I was never broken? So then I changed the dynamic of my prayers because when I started asking questions about this stuff like healing, so if I'm healing or healed, then I had to have been broken. So when was I broken? Well, what does brokenness look like? So then I realized that, hey, guess what? We always look for this too shall pass, the storm doesn't last always. Thank God for the endurance. You kept me, God, in the midst of this storm. While I was struggling, battling, and suffering, I was still surviving. I was still strong enough in this moment to heal. I remember when my now husband and I had a brief separation in our relationship before we were engaged. And I didn't want to stay awake. I just wanted to sleep, and sleep it away because of the hurt. The hurt was so great. But I didn't think that I could even get up and go to work. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to. But the moment that I said, you know what, you're going to get up, you're going to go to work, and you're going to be okay. I had to speak life into myself, but I also had to say, thank you, God, for this moment, because the next second I'm boohooing, I'm crying my eyes out, and I can't control it. And yes, I'm in a meeting in front of the executives, and they're looking at me like, oh, okay, what's going on? Listen, I fucked up. Sorry, got some shit going on. Mind your damn business. We're not talking about it. Give me a moment. Let me go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, okay? Get your shit together. But take a breath. Thank you, God, for this moment. Thank you, God, for endurance. So that's important as well.
It's so important. It's very interesting because one of the things that I do every morning as I'm waking up, my body usually wakes up about 4:30. I need her to really sleep until 5:30, but my brain starts, it's like it starts turning on the lights and going up the steps and opening up the windows at about 4:30 in the morning. And one of the mantras that I taught myself, instead of fighting that kind of time when my body is awakening and stretching, I'm like, thank you to my body for making it through the night. Thank you to my mind for being clear this morning. Thank you to my spirit. I do it every morning. Every morning, because my thing is this: it didn't have to happen. I always love Kurt Franklin. It could have been me, right? It could have been me, because my family could have been getting the call that you got to come identify the body, right? Mm-hmm. I could have been the one in the car accident and I can no longer speak. There's so many things that could have happened. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes I always, one of my best friends, she said, she said, you rebound so fast like a cat. She said, you make decisions like this. I said, it's not, you're so stupid. I said, it's not always that I make decisions like that. I said, one of my superpowers, one of the spiritual gifts that I have is that I have clarity in the midst of confusion. I said, and that by itself it's a combination of going through some things and understanding that it could have been worse. Not saying that this thing is less than, but realizing that it could have been worse. And that now that I know what's happening, now that I'm aware of the situation, how am I going to handle this situation? I said, and I am really clear. I said, it's so funny because when craziness starts to happen, it's almost like tunnel vision, the answer and what I need to do. I follow that because the two times in my life, twice in my life, when I said, oh, I'm not going to follow that, I had the hog shit smacked out of me by life. It licked its hands and railed back and changed the zip code in which I lived in because I did not listen. Yes. I was being disobedient to my future self, who was coming back to tell me, hey, no. And I was like, I'm not, but I moved out of hurt instead of clarity. Yes. And a lot of us, that's what we do. We move out of hurt. We're like, I'm going to hurt you how you hurt me. But can you really quantify your hurt? Can you really quantify your hurt and push that back on somebody and realize that in the way that most of us, when we want to hurt somebody, oh, we Vaseline up, we're so far down in what we're willing to do that we forget our morals, we forget our ethics, and we forget our mission statement.
The values.
And then we decide after it's done, oh shit, well, you shouldn't have hurt me like that. That's all we got. Like,
that's it. So here's the thing. There's the blueprint. Don't forget their blueprint. What you said speaks so clearly to when shit happens and it's like, okay, wait a minute. You focus on the blueprint. I know what I have to do. You call it tunnel vision. It's like, this is my safe space. This is where I operate, where I have control. I can't control this. I can't control that. I can't control you, but I can definitely control me. So as sure as I am about what's going on, I'm that sure about what needs to happen, how I get out of this and through this. So you always focus on the blueprint, refer back to it 100% because it is who you are. And then you will be tested and circumstances, people, I mean, many things will challenge that.
Yes.
But if you're very clear about your blueprint, you won't deviate from it too far. And I mean, not to say that somebody won't make you ready to snatch the earrings off and put the Vaseline and the ponytail on. I'm not saying that, because I mean, hey, but then you realize that, oh, you know what? I don't have to do that. Let me move in silence and focus on this. So while quiet the noise around me and stay focused and driven, because like I said, like you said, my future self is watching and she's waiting. So what I do today has a direct reflection of what I will be, what will happen, what will be going on in the life that I live tomorrow. So it's very important to be grounded and aware of yourself.
Aware of yourself and grounded. Because you know what, and again, what all of the things that we have spoke about so far, we're not putting in the easy category. Okay, we're not.
Oh no.
Looking this cute and fly, easy category. Okay, we got up, we made sure we got a little earlier, got ourselves together, we had some genetics, we had God, they showed up, they said put up the step, we showed up. Easy category. All right. Okay, hard category, keeping up with what they put together. Okay, because you can destroy that which is beautiful,
yes,
in a second.
Yes.
And that's has everything to do with your attitude and how you present yourself in the world. I used to tell my husband all the time, I'm like, listen, I'm going to be me every day, all day. The Agent Smiths drop out every day and try to, some people are sent to set you off. They be testing you. Bombs over Baghdad. You like, what is happening today?
Not today. I didn't feel like that.
But like you said, you stay your course. And it's not on the easy button category. We're not saying it's easy, because it feels good to tell somebody a lot of real negative. You be wanting to dig. You like, I'm about to give you some stuff. And you like, hey, this is my character talking. This is my reputation talking. My reputation and my character is connected to my spirituality. It's connected to my soul. It's connected to my heart. It's connected to my mind. And if I allow all those things to fall apart off of one sentence that somebody else says, how authentic are those things? And I'm not saying that you're not going to have moments where you like come out yourself and you be like, oh my God.
Oh my eye jumping. Look, my eye twitching. My hands are jumping. It's like shaking of the legs. It's like I'm biting my lip, because that's common and it's okay.
It's human. It's being human.
Very, very much so. Very much so.
You know, and like you said earlier, then you give yourself the grace to re-heal, because you're going to rip the fabric multiple times. That's just the way it is. In order for you to gain the Arnold Schwarzenegger muscles, you're going to have to rip them muscles. And I don't want those muscles, because I don't like how you be top heavy and your bottom be low. Like, I don't want to be Uncle Richard Jr. from off of Kevin Hart. Like, I don't want that body. But but you need that kind of resilience. You need that kind of structure. And back to what you said earlier, that's when you build better relationships, because the more connected you are with yourself, the more honest you can be with yourself, and the less lying you do, the less you don't have to go back and redo that story. You have to retell a new story. You don't have to write down what you said to live your life.
Your life have to rehearse your lines. You don't have to rehearse your lines, and you don't have to remember, who was I to this person, and then was I someone different over here, because you become exhausted trying to keep up with yourself. So if you are genuine, authentic, and true to yourself, then everybody's experiencing the same person.
Good, bad, right, or wrong.
Good, bad, indifferent, right, wrong, disagree, agree. It doesn't matter. You are who you are.
Yep.
But you also get to breathe, because that's the thing. When you're trying to carry on a facade, you don't have the moment. You don't get the moments to breathe, because you're so busy trying to remember and focus. And it's like, oh my gosh, did I do that? Did I forget?
You gotta get your mask back on. You like, this Evan glue ain't working the way.
Yes. Busting at the seams and can't hold it together. So, I mean, that's unhealthy for you. But again, that's a behavior that is a strong representation or a clue that you're not being true to yourself.
Yes.
Like you're lying about something. So be true to yourself. Be honest with yourself. And guess what? It hurts. It's not easy being honest with yourself. Listen, we have the me that I want to be and the me that I am. Sometimes they are the same person and sometimes they are not.
They are not. They're so disconnected that they're not even the same size clothes.
Absolutely. Hello. So at some point that's where you have to have that good girlfriend talk or that good buddy talk and just be very real and very transparent with yourself, because in truth there's healing. Because in truth there's light. Shine the light on it. Get out of the dark. Get out of the shadows. Don't be afraid. Listen, if you focus on what others will think of you, you can never be true to yourself. So when you focus on being the best version of you that you possibly can be, there's peace. And peace is everything, because with peace, everything is there. Happiness, joy, sadness, sorrow, loss, gain, like maturity, growth, wisdom, gratitude, grace, humbleness, all of that comes in peace. So when you have peace, oh, baby, you have it all.
You have it all. And I think that's what people miss. Like my husband always says, he was like, Lee, what does peace feel like? I said, it feels like all of the emotions, but you get to live in the emotions. You have time to experience each emotion. I said, because peace is not quiet. Okay. We be like, it's so peaceful. I was like, yo, it is, there are things happening in here. Okay.
Instruction zones.
It's a Rolodex, and I'm just trying to figure out which situation. Wait a minute, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Hey, like I have the drill, the concrete coming up over here. You got the crane going over here. You building something right here. You have the scaffold right there. You have the hard hat. You have everything. That's what peace looks like.
It does.
It's a breath of fresh air.
It's being present. Peace is being present, because again, like we said, you don't have to remember your lines. You don't have to remember what placeholder you were in. And again, we're not saying it's easy, because somebody can come along and drop some negativity into your piece that makes every other emotion go off at the same time. All right.
At the same time.
Every car in the parking lot, alarm is going off. You have a sensory overload disorder. You have now lost your mind. How do you center yourself?
Mm-hmm.
The closer you are to knowing who you are,
mm-hmm.
the better you are. If you know you're going to pop off, don't put yourself in situations where it's easily available, where the emotion's easily available. If you know you're a crier, you're going to have to stop watching all those proposal videos, because maybe you're not entertaining the part of you that needs to be strengthened. If you know you always putting on this strong Black woman mask, I don't put that on anymore. I'm in my soft era. Like I can be strong when you need me to be. But if my husband around, I don't know how to tie my shoe. I'm just looking at him. Looking down at my feet, he looking at me. I'm like, I trust you with my life. Life me up, please.
That part.
Because it's, I always say, it's so hard to get to that space. Because when you have the history that we have, trusting a person to run your life,
not easy.
It's not easy. And it doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen all day long. Sometimes it's literally while we're eating dinner, and then after dinner, you can't save me because of something you said that I took wrong, that triggered me, and you was like, yo, that's not what I meant. And you like, it doesn't matter. What you said was, and you know how I believe it. They like, yo, pause for the cause. Pause for the cause.
Right. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. I didn't even, how about the part where they say, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. Wait a minute, you didn't say, I thought I heard you say, well, no, I said this. Oh, my bad. You right. So it's a wasted emotion.
It's a wasted emotion. And I look at myself, because I am a very logical thinker. My emotions are always after 5. I tell people, you got your top 5 plays, my emotions are not in the top 5. They're not. It's logic, reasoning, facts, 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 emotions, facts, facts, logic. That's the way it works. That's how I reason. Which
you're right.
You know, and that's why I say all the time, sometimes people want, I've learned to be very quiet when people speak, which throws a lot of people off because they're used to the noise, the confrontation, the disagreeing or the agreeing. But I had to learn how to do that because I need to know where you are in this conversation. Because I know I'm very logical. If I'm talking to an emotional person, logic tells you to sit the fuck down, because this isn't your space. This isn't your, so, and if there is an emotional person is inviting a logical person into their space, you have to learn how to sit down and be quiet and listen and see where they're coming from and understand that you may not fully understand what's happening, but they trust you to be there. So give them the grace to say what they have to say, to feel that if you are an emotional person and a logical person invites you into their life, you have to tone down your emotions so that they can get their feelings out, because y'all might be there for extra 2 hours. You're like, yo, so what you said was, but how do you feel about that? I don't know, because feelings the way right here, it feels burny, and the burny part makes me, and then it goes up to here, and this feels tingly. And the person with emotions is like, bitch, you're hurt. And you're like, I don't think that's how it works. I'm not bleeding.
No, that's it. That's definitely it. I know, because I'm emotional, so I know. Yeah. So, and then you have to have patience with the process.
Yes.
You have to have patience with the process. Perfection is not. It doesn't exist.
It does not. You need to flush that word.
Right. Practice makes progress. It makes progress. There is no perfection. If you're striving for perfection, you're never going to find it. You're going to hit the wall of disappointment every single time, because there is always a different perspective, a different level of understanding,
and a different level of perfection, right?
Yes, we have different experiences. So my experiences teaches me that this word means that one thing, and your experiences teach you that it's something else. It's called culture. So you really have to be present in the process and say, okay, now how can I be available as an emotional being? I am. How can I be available to my logical friend?
Yep.
Pause.
And
take yourself out. Like, I take myself out of the scenario a lot. I said that early on. I am not present. I am here for you. What can I do for you? Blank. I'm listening. I'm not thinking any other thoughts. I'm not trying to figure it out in my head. Once upon a time, yes.
Yes, absolutely. We was fixing it. We was fixing it. What you say?
Right. Oh, well, 3 conversations back. Point number 5.
At minute 4:05. Did you remember minute 4? Like,
I probably should do this because this is what you meant and this is what you need. And all the while they're like, what? Wait, what?
No. I just wanted you to listen. You like, oh, I didn't hear anything you said because I was trying to fix you.
Respond. Yeah. That's another thing I learned with my husband. He's a logical person. And I learned that all conversations are not conversations. All communication is not conversations. Sometimes he just wants to download out.
He wants you to be a whiteboard.
He wants
you to be the whiteboard. Yeah.
Right. And then I go in thinking we're having a conversation. So I'm like, okay, Preston, ready. Okay. All right. So, and then I realized you didn't give me room to respond. So this is not a conversation.
Let me sit back.
Right. So now I can take myself, I can remove myself from this situation, and then I can be present for him. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, all right. I heard that. Oh yeah, that's valid. I see how you got there. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you feel about it? Because see, now he needs me to be present for him, because I'm the type of person that I can figure things out when I say it out loud. I'm
Yeah.
talking to you. I'm asking you questions about stuff. I'm really not asking you. I'm just getting it out so that my next thought can download. And once it downloads, it's like, oh yeah, see, oh, you're right. So just be present sometimes. And being present means to not be in thought. Don't be ready to respond.
Yes.
You don't have a response to everything. You can't fix it. So it's not yours.
It's not yours, yo.
Yeah,
it's not yours.
Oh. And be okay with that. Be okay with being like, oh, that's a you thing. It's not a me thing. All right, I'm here. Let's do this. Let's do it.
And I say that one of the best ways to communicate with people is to communicate with them in the language that they speak. And a big part of being in a relationship is learning how to speak multiple language. You are a linguist in this language, okay? You're in love, and you're in like, and you're in lust, and you're intelligent, and you're in smart, and you're in happy. You got to learn all those languages from that person. You got to download those languages as fast as possible. Because most people, when they come to you with a problem, they have the answer in their head already. They just want to say it out loud to see how the audience responds.
Absolutely.
They don't want you to fix it. They don't want you to tweak it. They just want to say it first. And then after they say all the things that they need to say, they'll ask you follow-up questions so that they can recalibrate, redeliver. I'm going to reorder and put this in a different order. I'm going to change that. And if you can be quiet enough to participate, that kind of love is invaluable. No, you can't even, again, like you said before, quantify the amount of love that a person will have for you when you allow them to speak through you to themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree. I love this. This is
look, she said, she was like, I'm in my moment. Look, it's so funny because we've been together so long. I was like, she just fell in love with me a little bit. I synced her. She said, see why we get along. I see why we like each other a little bit sometimes.
That part.
It's so funny. I always tell people, I'm like, we are the people who everybody knows us and nobody knows us all at the same time. So people will be like, well, who are you? Oh, I'm cousin Lisa. Same thing. Oh, who are you? Cousin Tasha. And everybody get excited. And then they keep on.
Wait a minute. How about the part where, oh, you're real? Huh? Yes. I'm here. It's me. Like, let's do it. Yes. We're here.
Like, okay. I know. It's okay. But it's so interesting because I think that those are the relationships that have sustainability. Because when you don't force a person to have to be, I always say, you want people in your life when they're open to being in your life, even good situation or bad situation, when they're open to being in your life. And everybody doesn't always have that space. Sometimes people's safe space is the quiet space. And then they venture out. And I always say, when people present themselves and give you permission to be in their company, to see them smile and to have joy, it is a blessing. It literally is the gift. It's the gift.
Absolutely.
And you're looking for but why didn't you listen? Stop asking why and say, welcome. It's a different W.
Yeah.
But welcome.
You have to give people, you have to create a safe space for people to be who they are. I don't expect for you to be me. I don't expect for you to feel how I feel, move how I feel, think how I think, or, interact the way that I do. However, I respect you and value you enough to say, I accept you and I create this space where you can be safe. Like, you can be you. Be you. Don't be me. Be you. I'm good at being me. I got this. But you play your part, play your role. So I don't expect for my circle dot because my circle is small. I mean, real small. But I don't expect the people in my life to move the way that I do. I respect them and meet them where they are.
And it's
Like,
bored as
be
hell
you.
when everybody doing the same thing. I'm like, why are we all doing the same thing? Because the reason why I'm your friend is because you be cracking jokes. And the reason why I'm your friend is because we talk about whales together. Why are you not talking about whales? Like, I'm like, why are we doing, what is wrong? Who hurt you? So I can go fuck them up because somebody told you that who you wasn't good enough.
Was not good enough. Oh my gosh.
Who? Because you know I will call. Do you remember me from back in the day? Give me the phone number. She not dating you no more. Yeah, it's over. Yeah. I'm the cousin. All right, bye.
Well, I didn't really mean that. I just was a little bit upset.
No, it's over.
Damn it. Shit. Fucking telling her no more.
And that's what you got to do. I tell you, what you say, don't call me and tell me that this is what we doing. And then be like, listen, I'm like, hey, I'll call you and reconfirm. Is this what we're doing? Because if this not what we doing, I need you to call me off. Be like, Lee, down. It's not what we're doing.
Don't call me if you're not serious, because when you give it to me, when you present something to me, an idea, I run with it because I speak life, I breathe life, I'm a doer, and I don't sit on things. I am a walking manifestation.
Yep. Say it again, girl.
You say you want to do something, let's do it. You said you wanted, you had an idea, let's bring it to life. I breathe life into stuff because there is so many naysayers. You can't do this, you can't have this, you can't figure it out, you can't be this, and there is not enough support to say, absolutely, why not? Oh, hell, you can. Well, who said you can't?
And give me that phone number so I can call him, because I'm finna call.
That part.
It's me again. Yeah, I know. We broke up with you too. But did you tell her that she can't do something? I'm gonna meet you downtown. Yeah, I'm gonna punch you in your eye. All right, goodbye.
All the while, right? All the while, I'm over here talking about something. Come on, I'm gonna show you why we can. I'm gonna show you we can. Absolutely, sure you can. There are no limits.
There's no limit.
Possibilities. You only limit yourself mentally. When you limit yourself mentally, remember, there is no box.
Nope.
There is no ceiling. It's just space. So if you don't give yourself enough space to spread your wings and fly, then you're going to be a walking bird.
I don't want to be a walking bird because their boobs get heavy. They be looking so sad.
They don't want to get caught.
They get caught fast.
Walking birds, chickens, they get eaten.
But I love that. There's no box. There's no ceiling.
No box, no ceiling.
And I think I always laugh when people be like, can you really do that? I'm like, listen to me. It is 2023. Okay. They got AI making conversations for you. There are people with no voices who have voices now that never thought they would ever have a voice again.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm like, listen, I know that there are negative things attached to any connotation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's the positive thing that's happening here? You have disabled communities that now are going to start getting voices. Absolutely. You have people who could not speak or hear who start to communicate more. You have people who are able to now, who may not be great at English and writing, who can now start making articles. They have something that can trigger what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You have to look for the positivity. You have to bring that to you. Because absolutely. I can promise you right now, and if you Google negativity, anything negative that you want to look up, it's going to happen. It is. All day, every day. But if you want something positive to happen in your life, you have to create your reality. Your reality.
You have to be intentional.
Very intentional about your actions, your thoughts, your dreams,
everything.
And the words that you say out. That's what I wanted to say. I was trying to think. When you said earlier, watch what you pray for. And I tell people all the time, stop cursing yourself. and be very direct about what you want. I said, because I used to say to one of my girlfriends, she'd be like, I want a man. What kind of man? I want a man like this. Does he have hair? Does he not have hair? Does he have eyebrows? Does he not have eyebrows? Does he have all his legs, all his toes, his fingernails grow? Does he click when he talks? Tell me what you want. Because you have to build. I said, if God is building things from dust, you trying to build a dusty man, I can't help you out. Okay. So I need you to tell me what we're doing here. But it's the same thing with your hopes, your wants, your dreams, your desires, articulation, and not grammar. I don't care how you tell me you want it.
Not at all.
But give me the key factors in what you want. What's the most important thing, all the way to the least important thing that you're looking for? Because when you pray and you say, Lord, please keep my family safe, that's not enough. Who are you trying to keep safe? Where do you want to keep them safe at?
From
and to, you know? And I think that that's one of those things, you know, you really have to be so aware that your words are cursed. And that's one of the things I had to teach myself, because I used to say all the time, I'm so fat, I'm so fat, I'm so fat. I need to lose weight, I'm so fat. And that only sent me into an eating disorder, yo-yo diets, just mental anguish, a full just breakdown over some shit that I was telling myself simply because I was trying to fit into a box. And I knew that I couldn't fit in that box. I'm like, why you buy a small box, bitch? You knew.
Right.
She was a large box.
That's not even your box. Like, I tell my daughters all the time, if you, especially my youngest daughter, if you wear your size, never mind the number, throw the number away. If you wear your size, it's going to look and fit you exactly the way that you want it to fit you. You're going to look nice. So, but if you wear my size and you're not my size, oh, it's going to be a conversation piece.
It's going to be a conversation piece.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
I know what flatters me, okay? And mermaid don't flatter me, okay? Mermaid make me, I look like you about to split me in the middle, turn me into two sausage. Not my thing, okay? All right, I'm an A-line, pop it out, nice little cinch waist. I can give you a little ups.
Right. Yeah, it's just me and the girls. We doing it. We are serving that today.
But it took a long time for me to watch those words, because I think sometimes we're so intentional about our jobs. We're intentional about our house, maybe more intentional about our children. Then we get a little shady and lag with our spouses. We get a little lazy with our spirituality. We get lazier with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're always the last.
Oh my God. And then I was very interested. I went to a Floetry concert a long time ago, and one of the ladies said, self-care is not selfishness. And I was like, listen, I mean, you should put that on a t-shirt, because there's a lot of people who be like, oh, you just focusing on yourself. You so selfish.
You're absolutely right.
I'm like, who told you? But who told you that?
Right. But why does it have to be selfish?
Who told you that though? But who told you it was selfish? And I can begin to explain. If we go down systematically and talk, and then hear from the first person who told the first person in your family that they were selfish, I can guarantee you that it had everything to do with the lack of service that they felt they were receiving.
That part.
So you're not here to service people. That's not your job. Okay. We have children. We're here to help them grow. They don't even belong to us.
Not at all.
Okay.
If we get to the age that our children are, we like, you're not gone yet. See you later. Bye. I'm
like, you ain't even got to be gone yet, because I'm leaving. I'm in the car.
Oh, that's me. Every day. My children look, where's mommy? Off to see the wizard.
I'm like, listen, I'm a passenger princess. I'm like, where your father at? Am I going to get on his nerves again? Yes. Yeah, I'm old enough now to know how to get on his nerves and turn it off just quick enough before he get angry.
Just enough. Like that hair. It's like, oh, okay, I went a little too far that time. I'm gonna bring it back. You're right.
I went too far. But before we even get off of this, let's talk about you being a published author. I really want to talk about this, because a lot of the knowledge and jewels that you drop in the book is what we're talking about. and rebounding from trauma and tragedy and miscommunication, right? That's
absolutely.
what
Yeah.
they're doing. So tell us about your book. Pull your book up. Give us some on the phone.
Let me pull her up. Let me get her. Hello, come on over. So,
yes.
yes. So, Fallen Hero Broken Family is a true novel. And I wrote this book through my own journey of loss, sorrow, hurt, and pain. But it wasn't just about me. It touches on the instability of mental health. It's when it's so heavy, but it's silent. You don't want to acknowledge it, but then you do. You see it in others, and you're ashamed of what you are experiencing within yourself. It speaks to all of that. The reason that I was able to write the book is because I was grieving. And I didn't realize that I was grieving, but it gave me a platform to pour out what was in me. And through every letter, on every page and every word, I was able to heal. But not only heal myself, I thought about my readers. There are so many people who wish that they had someone to say, oh my gosh, you went through that too? I can relate to that, because I am a real person. And this really did happen. When we lost my children's father, that was a major blow to our family, a major loss. And how I explained it to my then fiance, now husband, was when I became a mom, he was my partner. So when I lost him, it was like losing a limb. I was born with 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 feet. But if you lose one, I now have to learn how to live without the thing that I've always had. I always had my children's dad because he was the father. He was the other half of this parenthood in this relationship. So through our brokenness, I speak about the brokenness of my children, the emotional struggles that we went through. I talked about the mental and emotional disconnection of reality, where you're in denial about your own mental health. I speak about brokenness in myself to be in the situation that I was in, to have to take care of someone that I'm your ex-wife. I am your children's mother, but I'm sitting in this place where I now have to make these decisions, and the weight of it all was heavy. That journey was not easy, but decisions had to be made, and I had to be there, more importantly, for my children, because we don't know how people see us. And I say it all the time. I don't know how people experience me, because I'm just me. I'm focused on just me being me. However, in this journey, it was really, really difficult to even see myself and recognize the pain that I was going through, how heavy things were for myself, because I was focused on everybody else. So writing Fallen Hero Broken Family gave me the opportunity to speak to so many people that are not willing to be honest about themselves, that can recognize when someone else is struggling, that find themselves in a situation where they don't know that the struggle is real for themselves, and how to get out of it. Like, community is so important. Support is so important, and it doesn't always look like someone giving you something. Sometimes it's just simply being there. So this journey with Fallen Hero was so powerful and so impactful, and I am so excited to embark on the journey of having the conversation. And it's amazing that you invited me to this platform to have a conversation, because that's the premise of my second book. It's let's have the conversation, because people don't want to talk about it. I'm ashamed, because if I admit it, what does this mean? It means that there's healing on the other side. That's what it means. It means that you don't have to suffer in silence. It means that you don't have to be ashamed of how you feel, what you're thinking, because the person that you think is so happy, they may be having the same experience. My ex-husband was so always smiling, always happy, caring, giving, and doing, and he was suffering in silence, and we didn't know until it was too late. So I encourage through my writing every reader to examine themselves and have the courage to seek the help, because the resources are there. The resources are there. Sometimes you're delivered to your resources, but then you have to swallow the pride and you have to say, you know what? In my storm, in my pain, I love myself enough. Love yourself enough to help yourself, to reach out to your resources and heal within yourself. That's why it's so important. And we spoke today about self-imagery, self-awareness, strength, courage, spirituality, all of those things. You need everything. Sometimes you have no strength and you have to muster. And that's why I said, you know, you only need to have the faith of a mustard seed. A mustard seed is really small. You have to muster up the faith or the strength to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to live one more moment in this pain, in this season, with this weight, in this heaviness. And you have choices and decisions. Choose you. Decide better. Decide best. Decide health. Decide help, because it's here. And no one is shaming you. You know, no one's going to look at you and say, oh, the nerve of you, or, you know, look at you like, oh, well, you know, why are you going through that? No, the person that you least expected, they're suffering in silence. They're suffering in silence. So that's what Fallen Hero has really done for me. That's what this platform is all about: self-awareness. It's about mental health awareness. It's about having the hard conversations, the difficult conversations, having the courage to speak on it, and then acknowledge it within yourself. You don't owe it to anybody else. It's not about anybody else. It's about you. Because at the end of the day, I love you and I want you to live. I want you to love. I want you to breathe. I want you to experience the joys and the fruits of life in your labor. And we can't do that if we're suffering in silence. So we have to give words, to voice and sound to these feelings and thoughts that we have that are embedded in us that we can't seem to escape. There are resources to help you to identify what they are, because we don't know. How are you feeling today? I don't know. That's a fair answer. That's a fair response, because sometimes we don't know. However, saying that to someone, they may be able to say something to bring it right out so that you can identify why, because I experienced something. Oh, you know what? I was in that place before too. And I remember when, and this is what I did. Maybe this is a good resource for you.
Absolutely. And that's why I have healing through conversation, because there's healing in conversation. There's so much that can happen when you talk to each other, when you put faith in the conversation, when you are prepared to listen, repeat, and comprehend, because communication without comprehension is just a wall. It just is.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those things where I love your platform, because what you're telling people is that I want you to stop being afraid to heal, because a lot of people are afraid to heal because they don't know what it looks like on the other side. They don't know what their life is going to look like without the trauma and the drama and the extra darkness.
Yes.
And I always tell people, for me, when I was depressed, I felt the happiest. I felt so calm, because depression, I say all the time, they'd always laugh at me. I said, depression is the deacon in the nice suit with the fly shoes, hair combed back. He always put together,
always
saying hi to everybody. I said, depression at a certain point feels so comfortable. It literally, it's a boa constrictor. It literally hugs you until you can't breathe anymore.
Absolutely.
And that's what when you're talking about mental health, talking about mental illness, and I tell people all the time, mental health, mental illness, and mental disorder are 3 different definitions. You understanding where you stand in those places, because you're going to hit multiple categories in different areas of your life.
Absolutely.
And being able to read and hear about, speak to, talk to people who are going through or who have gone through the same thing that you've gone through that is the best way to connect with people. Being able to read your book and seeing that, okay, so maybe my spouse wasn't in this career. They may have been in that career. Maybe it wasn't a guy, it might have been a girl. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all human, and hurt is hurt.
Yes.
It festers so fast and so well. It disguises itself. It looks friendly. It's so charismatic.
Yes.
It gives you the feels. Because like when you hurt, you write better. You sing songs, you in your emotions, you drawing, you sewing, you're gonna prove them wrong. And then when it stops, you're like, what can I do to be hurt again so I can get back in that space?
Because some people survive better in dysfunction.
Absolutely.
And in function. But here's the thing that I want everybody to understand, that we all can heal.
Absolutely.
And everything. There's healing from everything. So no matter how heavy it seems, no matter how, dark it seems, no matter how much it hurts or how deep the hurt is, you can heal from it.
Absolutely. And it's continuing. We're not saying that you're healed. Okay?
No, not at all. Not at all.
We're just saying that there are spaces in your life that you can make available so that you can thrive in your life instead of being in survival mode. Because a lot of hurt lives in survival mode. As you're working towards healing, you're working towards thriving, and you want to thrive. And, thriving doesn't always look like a 3-car garage house with a big bank account. Sometimes you're still broke, okay? Sometimes you're still on a bus, but you have peace in your life. You know who you are, whom you belong to, and you understand that you have a goal that you're trying to reach and obtain. And that's all any of us can ask for at this point, especially with the way the world is right now. And if you went outside too long, you like, my Spank's not even gonna keep this world together. And
not at all. So I did want to mention that I am putting together a conference for women. It's called From Hurt to Heal. And it's premised around having the conversation. And I want to have the heavy conversation with women, because as mothers, as professionals, as sisters, as daughters, as cousins, we go through things, and sometimes it's easy for us to believe or feel like we're the only ones in this struggle or in this situation. So I want to connect us. I want to develop a community on this platform where we can come together and be a support to one another. So I'm hoping that it's going to happen in October.
Okay.
I'm working on it now. So I will definitely be connecting with you, letting you know once I finalize everything. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. This is something that's very close to my heart. And again, I know what I needed when I went through it. And I appreciate, now that I'm out of it, I appreciate what I had when I was going through it. And I would like to be a light for someone else. I don't care. Listen, I don't have to know your story. It's not for me to know. It's your story. Your history prepares you for your future. And if I can, for a moment, be the catalyst that helps you to connect with someone or in a space, a safe space, to be able to say, I'm going to let my guard down. And you know what? I am struggling. I am drowning. I am, trying to survive. I am starving. Like, I can't take one more step or one more breath. I welcome you. I invite you to come and be a part of this platform on this day, because I believe that this is a movement. And I believe that healing is intentional. And when we know better, we do better. So into yourself.
Yeah.
So into yourself. So I'll be connecting with you and letting you know when I have things finalized. So I am looking forward to October, but I am really excited about this journey.
It sounds amazing. You know me. I love spaces like this, because I believe the more safe spaces you create, the bigger it gets. And then at some points, the out edges start touching each other, and then we fuse into each other.
That's
you
it.
know? Because
That's
I'm like, I say all the time, there's spaces around us that need healing, no matter what's happening. And there are spaces around us where there's a woman conference and there's a men's conference, and the bubble gets bigger and bigger. And then once we're working on healing, and then we heal, and then we get together, and then we heal, and then we touch our children, and then we heal, and we just, that circle gets bigger and bigger and better and better. And especially within our community, because culturally, it's just not something that we talk about a lot. It is still so much stigma, and there's still so much shame that's attached to mental health. And it's one of those spaces where, if every time I have a conversation with someone, they always pause when they go to answer a question because they're afraid they're going to offend and or look weak. And I always tell people, your weakness is the strength that someone else needs in order to walk.
That's it.
And we all need that space. So I commend you, because I know you've been on this journey. I've seen you take this shit by the horns and was like, listen, I'm gonna be down for a little bit, but I'll be back just give me a moment, give me some time. I gotta flex these arms out.
I'm gonna figure it out. Absolutely. Absolutely, because failing is not an option for me. I decided.
Yes, and failures are lessons. Failures are lessons.
Right. No one told me. I decided that this is what I wanted for me. I decided that I didn't want to sink deeper into my hurt. I decided that I didn't want to be my trauma. See, I experience things, but I am not my experiences. So I decided. And everyone has a decision. Everyone has choices to make. So it's when you decide, what are you deciding for yourself? Are you deciding to heal, or are you deciding to hurt? That's why I think the platform From Hurt to Heal, it's global. I am so grateful to be connected with such a strong movement. My beginning, and remember I said, don't be afraid to start small. My beginning is with women, but I want to speak to men. I want to speak to children. I want to speak to teens. I want to speak to everyone, because everybody is affected by this.
Mental health is a life right. Okay. It is absolutely something that you deserve to have. And I tell people, mental health, the ability to comprehend and deal with daily tasks. That's what mental health is. It's your ability to handle, comprehend, and deal with daily tasks. Mental illness is the diagnosis that's happening there, right? And I need people to separate those two things. Because you want to treat your mental health the same way you treat your teeth, the same way that you treat your body. You go in for yearly exams. You make sure if you have diabetes, you take your insulin. If you have high cholesterol, all these things need to be treated. Your mind deserves to be treated. Your spirit deserves to be treated. Your soul deserves to be treated, because we all deserve joy. Forget happiness. Forget happiness. We're not, but it's something we were trying to get. It's the difference between being kind and being nice.
Yes.
Kindness is a trait. It's characteristic. It's who you are. Yes. Nice is mask. You can be nice for a couple minutes, a couple hours. You can pull that on whenever you need to. But if you're kind or you are not kind, it shows up every day, all day, in everything you do.
Everywhere.
So being able to have spaces where you can talk to, speak to, it's very interesting. I want you guys to understand what Tasha is doing. You can go to a platform like that and never speak and still obtain so much knowledge.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think people get stuck with it. I don't talk. I don't want to say anything. You don't have to say anything. Sometimes the energy that you're trying to absorb is enough of the talking. It's your communication. And one day you may decide that you want to talk and tell your story, but it could be 20 sessions into it. Just be open to being in a space where you have the freedom to cry, you have the freedom to mourn, you have the freedom to celebrate, because you're going to celebrate that day when you got up out the bed and took a shower.
Yes.
Okay, you got back in the bed, but do you smell good? Yes. You smell like lavender, baby.
Hello.
And I think that's one of the things that I love watching. A lot of the guests that I've had here on this podcast, we're all working towards healing and feeling and being very open. Being more, I always say, being like octopus. We're trying to touch as much as possible, but giving off as much energy as possible, positive energy.
Yes.
And we're trying to really like tap and say, here, today I have 2 ounces more of kindness. I'm going to touch you, give you one of my ounces, because I'm going to pass this other ounce to such and such down the street. And let's see how this works out. And that's what you're doing. Be kind. Stay humble. Be kind. And that's what you're doing, babes. That's what I see. I'm so proud of you. I'm so freaking proud of you, because I know where you came from, and it created such a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
And it's creating such a beautiful business person.
Thank you so much.
And it makes me so happy. And we have to do this again. So you have to make sure, as your conference comes up and you have your dates and times and all the details, that you are.
I certainly will. I will be right here. I will be right here. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the invitation. I was so excited when I received the invitation. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I am so grateful, and I love what you're doing. I love your platform. I love the energy that you put out. I love that you're touching so many people, and you are being the difference that you want to see. And you are doing that. You are being the difference that we want to see. So you are such a breath of fresh air. You've always been a breath of fresh air. And I just love you to pieces.
It's just great. That was my daughter talking about bye, because she's going to go see the Barbie movie.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Miss Pink. I love it. Yes, work it out. What you kids will wait until you. They be like, oh, you in a good mood? Hey. You in a bad mood? Hey. Seriously, I see us just tag teaming shit, because that's what we do. We've been doing we tag team in different ways. We, like I always say, I'm like, we are the people who are in the same genre in different books. We hop around and we touch all the same books.
Yes.
But we just be like, like, so y'all didn't talk about this?
No, not at all. First conversation. How about that?
This is who we are. Just every day, all day.
All the time. Absolutely.
All the time. And I couldn't ask you to be a better person. I could not be proud of who you've become.
Thank
you. Your smile is so contagious. It's just such a lovely space to be. And I'm just so grateful that you did this with me. We're going to do it again.
This was nice. This is a nice jam session.
She said, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
All right, guys, bye. You do not have to hang up. I will make sure that you get all the information from the about the conference, and I'll also drop a link in the bio about Miss Waters' book. And also, the next time we talk, I'm sure she'll be talking about her new book, because she be out here doing things. I'm telling y'all, she probably got 45 books in her head yet. I'm just saying. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.